Hello, welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. I'm here, and so someone else is here. Charlotte is here, and Lucas is here. We've all made it. We're here. We've got through the intro. That's always the biggest part for me of the week is getting through the intro with all those musical buttons. But we've all made it. How is everybody? It's lovely to see you both. We should start with you, Charlotte. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Before we start as well, because I've not been on for a few weeks, I promised our Rochdale under-10s I'd give them a massive shout-out because they actually won the North Manchester Girls Cup. And because I've not been on for so long, I feel really bad. So first of all, I wanted to give them a shout-out. So well done, girls.
Congratulations, championes. There we go. We need to have some champions on the pod, so why not? They're the good ones to start. Of course, speaking of potential champions, we'll come on to that shortly, Lucas. But how are you? How are you, sir?
I'm good. Minus a few injuries. I'm good. Self-inflicted from football, yeah.
Oh no!
I got into the whole Arsenal title challenge a bit too much when I played five-a-side, and it went to my head.
Oh no, you didn't go full Casemiro, did you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, only against the wall though.
Oh no, disaster. The five-a-side's the worst if your team's had a bad result, I find. It's the worst thing. You think it's good, and then you go too hard with it.
We play that once every month or so, and I always forget to properly stretch before because it's just not used to playing football that regularly for a long time. So like a lovely accessory here for my hand.
Oh no, disaster. Well, there we go. Injured on the pod, but still here. Dedication to the cause. Of course, we are live on YouTube and Twitch, and we say hello to Rusty Shackelford is with us. Ron Ollie and Jose, their title. There you go. Straight off the bat, go in. So drop us a comment, and you can chat with us as we're live today to talk about the football at the weekend, which of course lots of football, lots of news. As always, it seems to be on Monday, lots of breaking news as well. Monday does seem to be the day where we get lots of breaking news throughout the day, and the podcast format changes as we go through. But we will start with the weekend, of course, some massive games. And we'll start at Saturday lunchtime. It's very rare that I get to speak to Lucas about a game where Arsenal have lost. It seems a very, very long time in that capacity.
Enjoy it.
Come on to Arsenal, but I want to start, Charlotte, with Everton. And we were talking about this the other day. Sean Dyche, we love Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche is a favourite of the pod, absolutely. But another new manager bounce. What is the deal with this new manager bounce, Char? What do you think?
It always happens, doesn't it? Like, no matter what team it is, it always happens. It even happened for us, so it must always happen to every team. But yeah, I think it's just the Sean Dyche effect as well. I think they've definitely brought in the right man. If they wanted someone to keep them up, he's definitely the right man for it. I think it is still early days. Is it the new manager bounce and it's the first game? They need to obviously get the momentum and carry on doing it for the rest of the season. But imagine being Frank Lampard sat at home. Like, you watch that performance, imagine being Lampard just sat at home thinking, where was you when I needed you?
They definitely put it about for Sean Dyche, that's for sure. I mean, he wasn't mucking about. Bleep test straight off the bat in training. It was old school PE teacher, wasn't it? Get out and run some laps and step in, and they did. They played for him. Yeah. They worked for him. We've got Steve Franks. Just don't mention the red side of Liverpool. We will be coming on to the red side of Liverpool. Don't you worry. Josh is not here, but that doesn't mean that Liverpool are going to get off scot-free this week. That's for sure. And Rusty with Sean Dyche told him to put it in the mixer. You got to love Sean Dyche. I thought they were very good. I thought that they were, in terms of their energy, their effort, they tried to make it difficult for Arsenal playing narrow, and Everton has been an Arsenal bogey ground, I think, hasn't it? Last few seasons, it's one of the ones. So Sean Dyche, I think, has given them hope. What did you make, Lucas, of Everton?
I called it, and I didn't want to call it because I was like, I don't want to be that person who's going to be worried about going to visit Everton. But I was like, there were a few things worrying me. First thing was, like you said, our record at Everton away from home is not great recent years. Second, new manager bounce. Third, Sean Dyche has got a very good record against Arteta at Arsenal. I think we've only managed to beat Burnley once, I want to say, under Arteta versus Sean Dyche. They've actually beaten us more times than we've beaten them. So he knows how to play against us. So I was very, very concerned. And then I saw the lineup and I was like, okay, the midfield looks pretty strong in terms of legs. I was like, okay. And then after about 50 minutes, I thought we were in for trouble that day. I didn't think we'd lose. I thought we'd get a draw, but I didn't think, considering how we were playing, we were going to go up to Everton and completely waltz it. And it was Everton deserved to win. You're not going to find. I honestly, find me one Arsenal fan who's going to complain that we should have won that game. It's the first time ever that our fan base has got no excuses. We were simply outplayed in every part of the game. Like Calvert-Lewin's hold-up play was amazing. He was playing like he wanted to get that United signing in the summer. Midfield, we were completely outrun by Decore, Idrissa Gueye, and who was the other third? Onana was quality that game. And then, exactly. Steve Franks is right. The subs weren't great. Arteta's in-game management called the question there again when things need to go. But yeah, we didn't deserve to win, and we were poor. And hopefully, it's just a slip up, and we get back on track up against Brentford. But Everton, fair play. Like Sean Dyche is a good manager. I like him, but I would have loved Everton to go down. But I think he's got enough in the tank to turn it around. He knows how to get his team playing a certain brand of football, which is effective in the Premier League, especially against teams that like want to play with the ball and come at you. And it's not like they part the bus. Like Everton played some pretty good football at certain times, and I think with the players he's got there, like that Calvert-Lewin is the dream striker for him, to be honest. And then like Dwight McNeil, Tarkowski, he's got players that he's played with before. They look good.
Oh, I thought they were good. And I think it's a match made in heaven. We said it last week. Everton and Sean Dyche. I mean, Goodison Park can get behind Everton when it's the right. They like to go a bit. That David Moyes side that used to go a bit more direct with Fellaini. It's that kind of aspect as well. They're not afraid to mix it up, get heavy, make it difficult, and be physical and aggressive. And it bodes well for them, doesn't it? Because that's exactly what you need in a relegation run. And there are teams around them that are starting to pick up points. Wolves being another, say, with how well that they're playing. They're starting to pick points. Even West Ham are now starting to pick points. So it's the right time in the season that they need to start to get something together. But it's so tight down there, even a couple of wins and you're not looking too bad. And confidence they'll take out of beating Arsenal. And with Liverpool next Monday, that looks a very interesting Merseyside derby. Very interested indeed. But coming on to, say, Arsenal, as you mentioned, first time we've seen them lose in quite a while in the Premier League. As you said, being not in the place that they wanted to be to be in there. They were fortunate. I think Man City didn't take advantage, which again we'll come on to later. But from your side, Charles, what do you think it was with Arsenal? Do you think it's just a blip, or is this a start of something else?
No, to be fair, I think it was just a blip. And as we were saying, like the new bounce and everything, and Sean Dyche, he's come in, like we mentioned, a bleep test as well, and it's just took no rubbish. Basically, he's just come here and just thought, do you know what, this is me. Start with a bleep test, and to be honest, I think that was more to see their players' characteristics as well, to see kind of get a bit of a glance who's going to moan, will they do it, kind of thing. Try and get to know them a bit more through that. But for Arsenal in particular, you're going to lose some throughout the season. It's a Premier League, and the ones struggling down at the bottom as well are going to pick up points. And I just think it was just one game, and I think Arsenal will carry on with what they like. And obviously, people are losing points throughout the season. As we've said, Manchester City, you look at Liverpool now, people are just picking points each other. It's early this season.
Yeah, I think you're right. Teams lose games, and I think we just become accustomed to it so much over the last few seasons because of runs that City and Liverpool and that went on. But they lost games as well in those periods, and say away at Everton and a new manager, you can kind of see how. And I think Arteta was kind of quite good, I thought, afterwards, in some of the things he was picking out in kind of the players about the emotional side of things, and which shows he's kind of got his head in where he thinks they need to be at next. And I suppose the only worry is that it's a lot of it's the same 11, isn't it? There's a couple of players coming in versus
fatigue, maybe. things
it
like
could
that.
well be the case. You've obviously got Trossard coming, Jorginho as a couple of additionals to move
Players'
in there.
form dropping off as well, because like you said, they've been running when the same players have been playing without any competition for a while, complacency, and then just I think fatigue is setting in. I think in particular Martinelli and Ben White have just fallen. Their form's just fallen off a cliff in the last month. They've been really poor. I think having Tomiyasu and Trossard means I think those two are on the fringes of being dropped. I think Martinelli needs to be dropped, to be honest. He's not looked the same since Jesus has been injured. Saka had a really bad game. He had a bad game against City as well. And Odegaard was completely ineffective. Partey and Xhaka. It was just, I think it is a blip. But I think we've got to get it right against Brentford next week, because Brentford, I think, are the most informed team in the Premier League at the moment. They haven't lost since October. And that was like a blip. That was a blip of 4-0 against Aston Villa. Before that, they were on a good run. Like Brentford are surprisingly, that's not a team you want to play, because if you remember before the World Cup, what they did to Man City, when Man City played, we're a similar style of attacking football in that Brentford are happy for us to have the ball and try and hit us on the break, and they're ready for it. So we need to be. Arteta's got to get it right in terms of if he's going to drop a few players and try something slightly different against Brentford, because the pressure's on. If we drop points there and then going into that City game, because I've no doubt they will beat Aston Villa, they're not going to slip up again, then it's really going to start heating up. But well, I'm sure we'll get onto City, but they're another one who I don't think they want it as much. They don't want it either. So it's it's just a hot potato at the moment.
It's a hot potato. Maybe there's a third horse. I'd love a third horse to get involved in there. I can't think who that third horse might be. But
imagine that would be. I would hate it so much, but it would be it would be good for football, I think, in terms of if Man United went and stole it. I think neutrals would find it quite entertaining, because they just came out of nowhere. It'd be a funny story, but I'd hate it if United did it. No way. Please, no.
Snuck in after
just
our own
Newcastle
against
do
Brentford.
something.
Just sneak through on the quiet while you and the City
United,
looking at each other and just
United
sneak
and Spurs,
through.
no.
I've always said imagine having a 6-way title fight or something in the last month or something.
Oh my god.
Something utterly bonkers like that would be crazy.
It's not out of the question. The team start going, Spurs start going on a run now after get some confidence against City. United playing well, Newcastle, Arsenal and City start dropping points. Imagine it could end up being 4 or 5 teams involved.
Yeah, I could be. I mean, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, so we're all for entertainment, get everybody involved, and I still think so. I think it's a blip as well. I think there's the couple of things, as you mentioned, the fatigue, players that have played a bit. I think Martinelli. So Steve Franks has said about Martinelli having a new contract. I mean, I think some of it is just it's just a case of he's played a lot, he's fatigued. But I think also as well, it showed out against Everton because they were trying to push you down the middle, and Martinelli was where the space was. He was the one that was going to have the opportunity to open it up, and he couldn't. And I think that was the game that you missed Jesus the most, because he would drop in and give you that extra. And Nketiah's been doing fantastic, but this was the one that you needed a Jesus style.
I was just going to get on that. The Nketiah situation is last 2 games, I think, have pretty much shown everyone, if they had questions as to why pretty much a large proportion of the fan base don't think Eddie Nketiah is good enough. So backup striker can come in cup games and, start a few, fine. But anything more than that is not going to happen, because he doesn't have the movement or hold up play like a Jesus. And in that game where Everton basically just said, right, we know you're going to go from the wings, and all we need to do in the midfield 3 is run more than you, which they did. So Xhaka, Partey, and Odegaard were under pressure the whole game. And as soon as you went to the wings, Coleman and Mikalenko just tucked in and were like, you've got to go down, you've got to go down the byline, because we know you're not going to cross. We know you're not going to cross the ball into Eddie Nketiah. And that was it. And then Eddie Nketiah is not going to move like Jesus and drop into those pockets and come back to midfield, pick up the ball and run at players and open up space. And that's when, if we had Jesus, I think it would have been a different game, to be honest, even if he didn't score. But those are the ones where you need a bit more from your striker in those situations. And he's been poor in the last 2 games. So Brentford at home.
A toughie. That's crazy, isn't it? October. Can't believe they've lost since October.
Yeah. And that game, the one that they lost, was actually pretty much a blip, because their form was really good before that, and then they got battered 4-0 out of nowhere. So
they've been absolutely smashed. Yeah, Brentford's not an easy place to go. I mean, Charlotte, if you're Mikel Arteta, what would you be? What would you say inspirational to your team? What's your inspirational words to Arsenal to pick them up after the defeat? How would you go about it?
Trust the process. I'm joking.
That's what we were after. That's what we were after. Yeah.
Another light bulb. Get a light bulb out again.
Trust the process. I think so I think Arsenal will be. I think they'll be okay. I think we'll see. Brentford is a tough.
Do you think if we drop points to Brentford, do you think that's it? Do you think we're in trouble?
The only thing I think is because of what Man City did on Sunday. I think if
they don't look like they're ready.
They don't look like they're going to step.
I
you
agree.
Need someone, that title front needs the other person to push the accelerator every time you hit the brake pedal. And that's where you look at the ones in the past, the United Newcastle one sticks out the most. You've got to have someone breathing down your neck to add that pressure. If every time you're under pressure and you slip off, then next week you go, well, okay, well, we're still where we were beforehand. So it kind of calms you down a bit. So unless City pick up and find something, or someone comes through the pack and does it, then I think you can afford to have a couple of weeks where you're kind of getting your feet and everything else. But of course, Europe's not too far away coming back as well. Man City are going to have eyes on massive Champions League games that they've got. If Manchester United could get involved, they've got lots of games in other competitions. So Arsenal, I think, have just got to keep the focus. And as Steve Frank says, trust the process.
We've got it's crunch time in April, I think. There's the fixtures in April when we'll have Europa League, and then I think it's something like Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, City in like 5 games. We have all 4 of them, and then probably a couple of European games in there as well if we're still in the tournament. So I think April is like we're in a similar situation. I think honestly until the end, if we're within 6 points, I'd say around April, it's still all to play for to the end. I think we really needed that gap. If we had won and knowing City had lost, we'd be up to 8 points with a game in hand. And then it's really the pressure's really on, and they come to the Emirates. But 5 points is not. I'm not too fussed about that game in hand. 5 points it's tricky when you've got Man City there. It's tricky. I know they haven't.
You've got Man City there, and you've got 2 games against them. So watching it from a United perspective,
it's in their hands. It's in our hands. It's in their hands. Yeah,
it's in your hands, and I'm just interested at which way that's going to go. Because we're looking at you going like at 8 points and a game in hand, and that's a bit far at the minute. But who knows? Either way, someone's going to get a hit in 1 or 2 of those games, and say either you stretch away or City don't. And what that does to your confidence, if City did, could change the dynamic. But we'll see. And of course, off Manchester City, excuse me, they didn't take advantage. And there's other stuff from Manchester City that we will be coming on to. We'll start with Sunday. Tottenham they're actually not bad. I thought that was one of the best Conte performances I'd seen. He wasn't there. What did you make of Spurs this weekend, Charlotte? And Harry Kane?
This is what frustrates me, because before they're just so inconstant. You'll get one team 1 week that shows up. You'll get one another week that's just absolutely dreadful. I just do not understand Spurs whatsoever. And me with Conte as well. Well, I do not rate him whatsoever. I feel really bad for ranting about him every time I'm on, but I do not rate him. But honestly, Harry Kane, I know a lot of people used to call Harry Kane. I know some have called him like a 1-season wonder, but fair play to him. He's done a phenomenal job, hasn't he? Like, he's a great striker. And he's always stuck by Spurs as well, which is nice to see. Obviously, his offers before, these people obviously linking him for a move away, but he's always been loyal to Spurs. And isn't it in talks now that he wants to sign a new contract?
Yeah,
I think that came up.
Spurs would love him to sign a new contract. Yeah. I think it could well be, and he's obviously got one eye. I got the Bayern Munich link, etc. But I think now he's done the Jimmy Greaves, that Alan Shearer records, 60 goals or so away.
Yeah,
he's got to be looking at that. I think that's probably what's going to drive it.
Because definitely,
as we've said before, it's not trophies, is it?
Yeah, exactly. He can get it in 3 seasons if he keeps
exactly.
This up, but... Yeah, I mean, he must be. If he signs that contract, he's committed himself to never winning a trophy. Let's be honest. So enjoy the top goal scorer in the league.
Let's see. You don't get many one-team players, as Chris Finn says. And according to Steve, Technically, he's scored another 2 goals in the Charity Shield and been included, apparently. So, there's a bookkeeping issue.
I'm sure Kane will sort that out very soon.
They will. There's a bookkeeping issue. And talking of bookkeeping issues, well, let's come on to Manchester City. We're all going to talk about this game, but massive news coming out today that they're in breach of not 1, not 2, not 3, 4, 10, 20, 100 separate financial situations going back as far as 2011, 2012, I think, from Roberto Mancini. As I say, I've had a very brief look at it. Lucas, if you got the details on what's going on here?
I've had a brief look at it. I don't really understand the intricacies, but I think it's a similar situation to Juve in that they've just misrepresented their finances to the Premier League, which they did for a host of reasons: sponsorships, players, transfer fees, things like that. So I'm pretty sure this came up like a few years ago with Man City, didn't it? But it was UEFA who were it was UEFA this time
because they had a 2-year ban, didn't they? That then got overturned, I think, by the arbitration of sport. So they were found originally to be in breach and were punished, and then they got round it. And then this time it's the Premier League. Yeah. So presumably with a whole host of new things that they found as well. So
they have enough to I don't know. I just don't, until I see like an actual ban or deductions, I can't really say anything's going to happen. It's all very weird at the moment when you hear news like this. There's always an ulterior motive behind these kind of things. Someone raised a good point in that this is the kind of thing, if City do get a significant ban, this is the kind of thing that will spark more Super League conversations, which is why the Prem potentially might not be afraid to do anything too hectic, because I'm sure, is it Juve, for example, Juve have been ready before. I think Juve and Madrid were the ones who have basically stayed, and Milan on the Super League. So Juve, after that point, Juve like, we're ready to go. Like, when you guys want to start this up again, we're ready to bounce and start the Super League. You get Man City on board. Liverpool could potentially, with these new owners. United with new owners potentially. Chelsea. It's all a bit mad at the moment. We always need a Super League would rear its ugly head around to the corner again. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can honestly just see nothing happening. Some fines and maybe a transfer ban for a year. But what does it matter? They got the best academy in the country at the moment, so they can do about a year.
True. I just recall some of the loan players for
exactly.
They'll be fine.
Do you know what really frustrates me though? And I'm going to bring it from like a lower league point of view. I've seen clubs get harsh punishments, obviously gone out of business and had to start from the bottom. And that's what frustrates me, because obviously the money's in the Premier League, and because there's so much going on in the Premier League, I just think it's really unfair if they don't get some sort of punishment. And that's no disrespect to the fans, because obviously my uncle's a City fan and he's watched them from when they were like lower league and stuff. And for the fans like that, it's no disrespect. And I don't wish that on any fans whatsoever, but just from a lower league fan point of view, and seeing like so many clubs around us and clubs that I've seen like growing up, and Rochdale playing against them who have obviously gone out of the league and stuff now, I just find it quite unfair point of view.
It is,
obviously a lower fan if you didn't get
Man City don't bring as much money to the league as United's, Liverpool's, Arsenal's, Chelsea. So there's not too much of a risk of pissing off Man City or causing upset relationship for the Premier League as it is with this would never happen with a United. Let's be honest, it's never going to happen, or a club of that size globally. But yeah, Man City don't bring that much. Compared to some of those other the top 6 sides, I'd say Man City and Spurs really are not, they're not leading that pack in terms of global fan base and eyes on the Premier League. So we'll see what happens.
I think you're right.
Did you also see that with Pep Guardiola? With Pep Guardiola, because he actually said if last time, if anything did come up of it and he didn't do anything behind his back, he would automatically walk. So that would be, you never know what's going to happen there. And obviously with this news, would that unsettle City? Obviously now with the title race, like getting news like that.
Yeah, He could walk though, and then they get a manager in who's just like, right, enough of this passing side to side. Just give the ball to Haaland and let
Long ball.
yeah, just like enough of this. De Bruyne going around. When as soon as you get the ball, look up and pass it. None of this side to side keep ball nonsense.
You've got an absolute monster up there. You're going to find him.
Haaland must be looking at it like, why the hell have I come to this team? They just never give me the ball.
No, 100%. So it must be with. So, yeah, Chelsea are another that have been questionable.
Well, Chelsea have just broken. Chelsea have just done they've just taken the amortization, which is what a lot of clubs do anyway, and they've just looked at a loophole and gone, wait a minute, we can actually do this for 10. We can just give contracts for 8 years and then spread the transfer fee over even more. So it's like all of those fees are spread over. It's something like, I think Chelsea have spent 140 million this year in their accounts, basically. Yeah, which is less than Leeds.
Utterly bonkers. And their excuse is because they're giving security and whatever to the players. And you're like, you're not telling me that Mudryk is going to be there for 8 years. And if he achieves the potential that we think, he's not going to put his hand up and go, I need a little bit more than what I'm on at the minute, or I'll be off. I mean, it's mad. We know finances run football, but it's just finding loopholes. It's finding, and we've all, the City stuff always comes out. Everyone gets excited, and then it goes away. As you say, it gets parked, or the legal guys get involved, and they push it off, and they realise it causes too many other problems. As you say, Shah, that's the problem. It doesn't at lower league level. They can come for the teams, and you end up in a horrendous situations like Bury fans. You don't even have a team at the end of it. It's horrific.
Exactly.
So it's just not. It's just. Who knows what's going to happen? Watch the space. It could be exciting. I think people are getting excited because within the rules, there's that element that says they could have point deductions, they could be relegated, and I mean, it would be fantastic. But it's probably a pipe dream. I mean, maybe say you could have Man City playing down at Spotland next season, Charlotte. Maybe they'll go
in a conference.
Yeah, kick them out of the football league completely.
New derby.
Yeah, new derby. That's it. Yeah, could be a cracker. But say back to on the pitch, the drop-in points left, right, and centre don't look a coordinated team. It doesn't look right. Is Pep okay? Do you think, Lucas? Because I mean, we had the Cancelo transfer that was kind of out the blue last week. De Bruyne was on the bench at the weekend.
He doesn't look right. I don't know something's going on behind the scenes, but I think there's definitely a issue in the dressing room. Hence why Cancelo was shipped out, because he was probably seen as the problem child. Players that need to be dropped. He started doing that already. But honestly, I just think they need to change the way they're playing. I watched them against Spurs and I was like, Haaland is making runs the entire game. He's been doing that all season. It's like he waits on the back of the last defender, teams push up, and then it's literally like you're expecting the pass. I'm like, if this was FIFA, triangle, hold the triangle button, and it's in behind. And they just go sideways. They look up and then they go sideways, and then they go back and then they go sideways. His whole thing is around keeping the ball, and it's just teams have clocked onto it this season in that, okay, well, hold a minute, we can actually give Haaland that space because they're not going to release it. So I think he just needs to be a bit more direct. If they become more direct, they'll be unstoppable. They will be with Haaland because they'll just score more. They'll just score more than anyone else. I think defensively they haven't been great, but they've never really been a defensively solid side since probably Company left, and even then they were a bit shaky. But yeah, Haaland, long ball. Why would you get a striker like that and then try and play the same way? It doesn't make sense. It's very weird.
I just keep looking back with City to that first game of the season against West Ham when we're all frightened, when Haaland was on the shoulder, direct through, and we're all looking at that going, oh no, they're going to do all that season. Every now and again
exactly.
They'll do the passy bit, and then they'll hit you with that, and you'll just be completely open all over the show. I just don't.
It's such a mismatch. I just don't. I don't get what the logic is in that. If you're going to play it with them, okay, play Alvarez up front. But it's like, it's not, and they weren't doing it like at the very beginning of the season. That's all they were doing, and then they just stopped. So I don't know. Pep's just maybe trying to make it more difficult for himself.
He seems to be. I mean, both him and Klopp seem to be in a sort of similar position, trying to get another tune out of the band again to try and get them all excited again. And I mean, he's been sort of saying that they've had it too good with the 4 titles in 5 years, and it can drop off. And people can have dips in seasons, and that happens. But it's just so noticeable when it's kind of all at once. And say they played. Haaland's still got 25 goals, but you take that around, the support in the team is kind of not there. Phil Foden's disappeared over the last month or two, sort of barely played. Grealish is in and out a bit. Mahrez has probably been one of their better players recently, I think, attacking wise, been a bit more direct. And it doesn't look right. I mean, Charles, do you think he'll get it back together? Do you think this City team this season is capable of going on a run like they have done in the past?
Yeah, like we were saying before, I think if they play more like the Manchester City have played, they're more than capable of it. They've got the players and stuff. I just don't know. Like Lucas said, I think there's a lot more to it and a lot more going on behind the scenes, and obviously with Guardiola and things like that. But I think if once it gets it right, if it does, like obviously, if it does get it right, then I think they'll be unstoppable. But at the same time, are they focusing more Champions League? I don't know. I really could not call it, because like we were saying with Liverpool as well, it just seems really odd this season. It just doesn't seem real.
They've basically dropped the same amount of points by now as they did the whole of last season. It's 15 points they've dropped. So they're at that point now where they have to basically win all the rest of their games, the match last year, everything. So, and that's not going to happen. Because again, they've got to play, they've got to play us twice. I think they've got to play Newcastle. They've got to play, have they got to play United? No, they've played United twice already. They've got to play Chelsea, twice. I think. Oh, they've played Chelsea twice.
And they've got Champions League coming up, which just always throws Pep's mind completely when the Champions League comes back about.
Yeah. Although that might be the motivation they need. The Champions League might be the boost midweek in Europe that they need, which they take into the Prem. But yeah, they're not getting 90. The way it's looking, I don't think they'll get 90 points if they continue this way, which leaves it open.
It's more of a traditional season, so by the time you add all the other peculiars that have happened with this season as well, I mean, this is why I think in years gone past, you're looking at the sides below going, well, they've gone, these two have gone, they go off into the distance, and you look at this and go, maybe not. You could see 3-4 games, everything changing, and we're only 20. How many games we played now? 20, 21.
We're on 20, yeah.
That's right, a lot of games to play. A lot of games to play, and so you've got to play City twice. City could come out of that. If anyone's going to beat them this season, Arsenal are probably the most likely to do it. Yeah. They've got to play them twice. It's just how they've kind of, that gap has closed. I don't think they're as strong in the middle of the park anymore either. I think Rodri's stepped right off this season too. They just don't seem to know. I remember that season with Gundogan was phenomenal last season. You barely see him now. He's another one who's kind of dropped out. The defence he's faffing about with every 5 minutes as well. There's kind of no consistency. I know they had Diaz out, but he doesn't seem to have come back either. I don't think, because I think he's fit now, isn't he? But he doesn't seem to have slotted him in. Just a whole host of confusion. Trying to pick a Pep Guardiola squad is just like, for fantasy Premier League owners, Manchester City are an absolute nightmare. Unless you've got Erling Haaland, which everybody has Erling Haaland, what do you do? Because you've got
Haaland, Grealish, Ake, and Edison are your safest options now.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, and Rodri. But again, what's the point?
A defensive midfielder who gives away bookings is not
exactly.
your FFP
no
team
point.
To the title. But say Shah touched on it there with Liverpool, with Man City struggling. Of course, Liverpool as well are struggling even more so. It's not the reason that Josh isn't on the pod this week. He is okay. We've checked with him. He's fine. But unfortunately, from Liverpool are not. Wolves 3, Liverpool 0. Shah. And to quote Josh, how did that make you feel?
Do you know what? It made me feel really good, because I've always said now and again on here, Craig Dawson, Rochdale legend. And as soon as I knew that he scored, I was like, right, I'm putting it in the group chat. And anyway, I don't know what's going on with Liverpool. I really don't. I don't know whether it's because the midfield is getting older. They've not got the legs anymore. I've mentioned about Mane leaving, but you can't put it all on Mane leaving. They've obviously brought in new players. It's just not going right at all. I just don't know what's going on. I really don't. I wish I knew, but I really don't. But it is quite funny. No offense, Liverpool fans, but it is quite funny.
It is. I have to say I'm the host role today, so I'm trying to be neutral with it. Josh isn't here to kind of bounce with where it's at. But I've suffered a lot in the last few years with Liverpool fans who have almost brought that team up to levels above where where it is, and just to sort of see it kind of fall off and to see it where it is. And the players, to an extent, maybe believe the hype too, that there's a lot of things not wrong. And I was listening to, I think it was the Athletic podcast on the way home tonight, and they were kind of sort of suggesting and said, we're having these Liverpool chats every 1-2 weeks and trying to bring up a new topic. Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? There's just so many things. You've got midfield, you've got aging players, you've got new owners coming in, you've got Mane's gone, you've got, okay, Van Dijk's injured, issues in the defence. But I mean, watching some of the goals they conceded against Wolves were just dreadful defensively. The first one, Matip, indecisive, didn't know where he was going. Second one, Robertson didn't close down the cross, which is just basics, and they're not at them. And I don't know about you, Lucas, but Klopp seems bewildered with it as well. He seems just as confused as the rest of us.
Lost, yeah. He's just looking at it like, what is going on here? But he's just as much to blame as I don't want to say as the owners, but it's like he's dug himself a hole here with that same, just keeping the same players, and again, not adapting your style. And like, honestly, Oxlade-Chamberlain still plays for Liverpool. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. So I don't know what they expect. And then their transfer business has been weird. I mean, fine, you get Núñez in, but then why do you get Gakpo? And then your last two signings have been Núñez and Gakpo when you've been screaming for a midfielder. Or a fullback, and you get two players who are notorious for like literally missing chances over and over again, and have had one good season. I say Gakpo's been around for a little bit longer, I'd say, but again, playing in a very different style of football in the Eredivisie, completely different style of football. I say Benfica at least is a little bit closer, at least in terms of Núñez's role. But then you sign Gakpo and play him as a striker, and he just looks, poor guy. He actually just looks lost.
Yeah,
he just looks lost when he's playing for them. So I don't know what they're how they get out of this, to be honest. And then defensively, but it's not even the defense. There's no midfield. It's just completely collapsing. And I've seen it at Arsenal when we've not had defensive protection in front of the in the midfield. You've seen it at United, Sam, when you've not had like DMs or players who can, it just, your defense just completely collapses, and it makes players who can actually, who know what they're doing, look amateur. And that's what's happening at Liverpool. It's like these guys know how to win. Robertson is a good player. Trent is a good player. Van Dijk is a good player. He's not none of that top 10 centre back rubbish, but he is a good player. And they're just all over the place. They're just all over the place.
Wow, indeed. And so Josh is with us in the chat today. He's come to join us about his favourite topic, Liverpool in the Premier League. And currently he's blaming FSG, and so also a tired, thin squad. He was saying tired age midfield, and haven't signed a proven mid since Thiago, which is true. I always thought the Thiago one was I kind of got it because he was on a free transfer and what they were getting from him. But again, a midfielder that was kind of pushing the kind of age thing. As you said, no one coming through. And Fabinho has dropped off. I mean, they played that young kid, didn't they, at the weekend? Over Fabinho, dropped him. How poor he's been recently in that midfield too. As you said, it's a great point Lucas made. United was exactly the same with that midfield, defensive mid. Just open space up in front of it. People can get in. Balls are coming from angles that they weren't coming at before. And I don't know, I wonder whether, as you said, that they kept hold of the players. Is it a case of, obviously, Klopp always has that relationship with his players. We see him like kind of hugging them on the touchline. You can kind of see that he's kind of got that kind of that love for the players. Is that part of the problem, that he's been unable to kind of let them go when the time's needed, when they need to be moved on?
Yeah, possibly. And just maybe the fact that they were winning things, and obviously they were trying to keep the team together, but I don't mean to be awful. As much as they've been great servants, it's like Milner and Henderson.
Yeah.
They just, as much as they've been great servants and they've been great players in the past and like did a job for them, I just think now they need to kind of move them on. As much as they might be like, they might have helped them in the past, like win trophies and things like that. I just think now you just need to think and look ahead of the future, especially when you've got the likes of Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United up there. It's not the Manchester City and Liverpool show anymore.
It's very
left
true.
behind. Chelsea could come out for you, very soon.
Well, Chelsea have surely got a team amongst all of those players.
That's what I mean.
Somewhere amongst them, over the next 18 months, if they try all the combinations, one of them's going to
unlock things. Good players. They've good players they brought in there.
It is absolutely, and I mean, I'll also say very quickly credit to Wolves as well. I mean, they've really picked up. They were another when Lopetegui went in. They're not going to stay down there, I don't think, very long, because Wolves have always, in our mind, had very good technical players in there. It's just kind of run out of steam a little bit, didn't they? And if they can get that working, they were good. Liverpool dominated possession in that game, but just couldn't find a way through. And again, sort of defensive lapses, not kind of chasing players down. And yeah, it's a strange one. Where would you think, if you were to put your money on it now, where do you think Liverpool will end up come the end of the season? Can they find a bit of form? Will the Champions League, like you said, with Man City, pick them up? What do you think, Shah? Where are Liverpool finishing?
I really couldn't tell you, because obviously you've even got the likes of Brighton up there. You've got the likes of Fulham pushing up there. You've got like Brentford. So it's really hard to tell when you've got these teams, obviously, thereabouts. And obviously Liverpool is still in the Champions League as well. But I don't think they'll get Champions League this year. I think that's a definite, to be honest. I do not think they'll get it. Maybe Europa, but I don't know. I don't want to be too mean on harsh on them, but I do not think they'll get Champions League.
I don't think I would have picked Liverpool to have a run and finish in that top 7.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think they're better than Chelsea with those new additions. Even if Potter's still working things out, I just think their team, Chelsea's team, is full of too many good players. That they got so many flair players as well. They got players in there now who are just like Felix and stuff. They'll win you games. I'd say Fulham and Brentford are the only question marks, but at this point in the season, they're still playing well. Why would they suddenly just drop off? But those kind of teams, you take Tony out of Brentford, you take Mitrovic out for a bit. They don't really, they're not as threatening going forward. Defensively, they're okay. But I don't think Liverpool are better than Brighton, Spurs, or Chelsea at this moment in time. And so that leaves them with, at the very best, 8th. And then you got Fulham and Brentford, who are probably, on par with they've been better than this season, but the points isn't even that far off, which says everything, doesn't it? So I think the highest they can finish is 8th.
I think it's probably fair. Say Brentford and Fulham are the two you think could be picked off, and particularly now you look Tottenham picking up Newcastle United in that top 4, so that's moving. And Brighton have been superb, and
Brighton aren't stopping.
Have been phenomenal, and they seem to be unearthing talents left, right, and centre. I mean, this Matoma bloke's
football
ridiculous.
Manager's dream. They're signing these players literally from their youth clubs in their home
and making a net
well.
profit every year, because they'll lose one or two of them. McAllister will go for ridiculous money again in the summer. Then Matoma will be the next one, and there'll be another caravan. I
think Matoma was bought from is it called Kawasaki Frontel in Japan. Caicedo they bought he's from Ecuador. They bought him from literally a team in Ecuador. Their scouts are going globally and actually taking the time to find players who they can get for $500,000 who are ready to play in the Premier League. It's perfect. It's the new Leicester. So exactly what Leicester were doing before. So Brighton have cemented their future, to be honest, in that they can really go for it, and they got a big stadium as well. Very nice stadium too.
I have. Well, Josh has gone for top 4, but of which 4 teams he's not sure, and has then potentially said, okay, maybe 16th to 12th, we will top that form. So there's the potential of that. And we also
top
have
4 of mid-table.
We do indeed. We list United in the channel, and he hopes that Arsenal get relegated. His comment to add.
Ain't happening. We've passed 40 points.
He's big up to Spurs crowd. He says it's to add.
Well, after they did us a favour on the weekend, I'm not too mad at that.
Do indeed, and I'd say Josh is still pinning his hopes on Mr. Bellingham being the overall saver, which I think all Liverpool fans are praying. But every time I look at those Bellingham odds, Liverpool's are just slipping, just like the table, slipping. We'll see. But maybe he comes in the summer and he provides that transition. But I've seen some people calling Klopp out, and I think that's a bit crazy for me. But they do need to sort something out and change something, because they're on a fast track to being a bit further away at the moment. But there we go. Things can change. Who knows? At some stage, that strike force has got to do something. So you imagine there'll be a little bit of clicking, but who knows? We'll wait and see. But a manager that won't be clicking their team is Jessie Marsch, who has been given his marching orders today. Less than a year in the job. I think when he was appointed, I don't know what you thought, but I thought this isn't going to be a long-term.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This isn't going to be a long-term thing. When they're in trouble next season, he'll be the one to go. And there they are. Sacked, Jessie Marsch, back off to America. Shah, what do you make of the latest manager merry-go-round?
Do you know what? If this was before the January transfer window, I would have been like, fair enough. But he's brought some players in and he's not really had the chance to like work with them or kind of. I just find it really weird. So close to the end of the January transfer window when he's brought new signings in.
Yeah, and their form's not been great. They haven't picked wins up. But apart from the Forest loss, they've had a couple of cup games which they won, and I think they had they draw a couple of weeks ago against decent opposition. They weren't quite prime; they weren't quite there. I thought it could happen, and they've got Man United coming up in the next 2 games. You're thinking maybe off the back of that, then they've looked at the league table and gone panic. So is it's Bielsa coming back?
Imagine.
Could be the case.
I agree. It's a bit unfortunate given the timing. I think in normal circumstances, you would give them more time. But I think what they did is they looked at it, they went, right, so Southampton and Bournemouth, pretty much, I think most of the league has kind of decided that those two are going to go down, give or take a few wins, even though, the point difference isn't massive. Just the way they're playing, the players they've got, their managers, it's not enough. So then they lose to Forest, who again are close. And then at the same time, West Ham get a draw away at Newcastle. West Ham are starting to, look a lot better. Plus the Danny Ings signing gives them a goal scorer. And then Everton go and beat the league leaders. So the Leeds just look at it and go, wait a minute, we're the 3rd worst team right now. Like we're halfway point in the season. So sorry, Jesse, but we're going to pull the plug here because we need to start picking up points because everyone else is, and we don't want to be left behind. So I kind of get it. They spent a lot of money. And again, he doesn't really have a style. Like it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, you don't know what he's trying to do. So it's too risky to keep. So I understand why Leeds have gone, we don't know what you're trying to implement here. You've bought a load of players, like we've given you money, and there doesn't seem to be anything that's sort of gelling. There's no sort of like chemistry in that team. Every time you look at them playing, again, it relies on flair and just outrunning everyone. But it's not good enough. Like I'd worry for them if he was still their manager. But I think they did it at the right time because they've got some good young players in that team. So
some potential there. I think, as you said, they're looking new manager bounce of just the 6 points that comes with the new manager bounce. Whoever that manager is,
exactly. That's what you got to do now. Just keep sacking them.
Get the manager bounce. Fucker, we need 6 points.
Oh, nice against Man United on Wednesday as well. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, don't appoint to say that's what Josh is saying. Hopefully it doesn't come in just in time. I don't want. Yeah, I'll have no new manager bounce this week. Thank you. Week after is fine. That's a question. Who's about?
It's too early to be linked with anyone, really.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same sort of people that were in the Everton midst as a possibility to go there. So I think we were talking about people like Hassan Hootel, people like...
What about Dean Smith? What's he up to? Is he still
I think he got sacked, didn't he, at Norwich? Potential. Josh says Warnock for Leeds. I think Haley would be a fan of that. But no, I think, it's too early to see who's going to be the closest candidate for Leeds and who they're bringing through. So... we'll see. But I agree with you. I think they're starting to look a little bit in trouble when you look at the sides around. It's not looking great. Which, talking of, let's have a little look at the latest Premier League table for the Premier League after the weekend's fixtures. Of this week, I've added in some ups and downs so we can see who's going up and who's coming down in terms of the lead. And it is Leeds that had the worst drop-off with their loss against Forest, losing 2 places, of course, as West Ham picked up a draw at Newcastle. We had the Wolves win over Liverpool, of course, and Bournemouth dropping further in the relegation zone, but Everton hot on their heels. So it's still ridiculously tight at the bottom. 14th to 19th place. We've got...
I was going to say,
points.
Yeah, it can really... Leicester basically in it as well.
Leicester and Forest and Palace... Forest and Palace not far away either.
Palace, I think, have got a lot of, but with Zaha out for a while,
they
could get dragged into it. Yeah, Forest, I'm still not convinced, but they've bought a load of good players. They've bought 2 new squads of good players.
Yeah,
so I mean, Keylor Navas is like, what on earth is going on there? Like,
it's just
Danilo kid who was thinking of like they've just managed to sign, so it might be enough to keep them up this season. And then
them and Chelsea must have signed 80 players between them. It's absolutely insane.
Honestly, but West Ham. I watched the Newcastle West Ham game, and West Ham put up a good fight, but Newcastle were levels above. It was one of those games where it wasn't clicking. I don't think it's any concern for Newcastle, but West Ham put up a very good fight. They got a lucky goal, but yeah, I think West Ham with that Ing signing has pretty much saved them, to be honest. If they keep him fit, you've got 6 Premier League goals there, which might keep you get some draws.
And I think we've all looked at that West Ham side and said there's enough talent within there to put a run together.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't be down there.
No, they shouldn't be.
Surprised Moyes has kept it, but I think they probably gave him like 5 games or so to get us up to like 12 or something, or you're gone.
Yeah. I think that's it. A bit of pressure on them. And so Newcastle, as we said, Chris dropping in the chat there, Newcastle are draw specialists. They seem to be, they're unbeaten, but they are starting to pick up quite a few draws. And while I'd say they are fantastically, very good defensively, not kind of scoring so many at the other end. I mean, struggling. And they've got Bruno Guimaraes out still for a couple of games, haven't they, as well? That's a big
miss because Longstaff just isn't. He got a good assist on the weekend, but the rest of the game, he's just there. He's one of those players who's just there. Doesn't offer enough. Doesn't look up. Yeah, he's a squad filler. They're really missing, which is why I'm surprised they didn't get a midfielder in, because they needed like playmakers in that team. Players who can play on the wing and just dictate the tempo a bit. But
and you've also got Almiron was never going to keep up that form for that long.
It was never going to. He's not that good of a player. He was just in a very good purple patch. But he didn't. He's not even been playing that badly. It's just the goal scoring, the runs he was doing. It was just insane. He's not doing that anymore. But Wilson's been fit for quite a while, to be fair. So I think, they'll be all right. St. Maximin hasn't looked great since he's come back from injury either. So
no, but I mean, they're probably. I think the thing is their expectations is it's always a funny one. I think speaking to Newcastle fans, because they're ahead of where they thought they were going to be by an absolute mile that they thought they'd be at this stage. They're kind of taking it, but as soon as you get there, then your expectations change and you get a bit more excited. They've obviously got the EFL Cup final against Man United coming up as well, which could be a positive or a negative. If they win that, God, the momentum that they could drive off of that first trophy, the place is already bouncing. That could add another element to it as well. So they're still very much, to be in that fight.
Yeah,
it's still very exciting.
Which I think is fair. They've probably been the 4th best team overall. I'd say they were above United for a bit, but United since the turn of the year have just been, have been quality. So I'd say in that order, maybe I'd put United above City across the course of the season. Those are the 4 best teams and the teams that deserve to be in the top 4 by the end of the season. But it's still early. Anything can happen. You go on a run of draws or wins, and someone picks up, it could change completely.
It certainly could. And so obviously I've got a vested interest in the EFL Cup final this year. For the first time in a while, I've got a final to look forward to. But I think it's a very interesting one. Yeah. I think when is that game? End of Feb, I think. I think it's the last weekend in February, 26th or something like that. Nice. Very, very. I think that's going to be a very interesting, intriguing final. Might not be pretty, might be scrappy and defensive, but I think it will be interesting. And of course, talking of interesting, we have Charlotte with us. So we're going to join the next league in the row of leagues here in England, and we have the Championship coming up here. Charlotte, are you able to give us a rundown of what's going on in the Championship?
Yeah, of course. So as you can see, Burnley, they're playing some really good stuff under Vincent Kompany. They are top after beating Norwich, everyone's favourite. Jokes.
Where are Norwich? I can't even see them. Oh, 10th. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Right down.
It's looking good.
Yes. They're not coming back. Yes. I mean, they can still sneak into the playoffs. They probably will, but we can pray. We can hope.
Yeah, they beat Norwich. I know.
Lucas is out at the weekend shooting canaries with a BB gun.
Them and Watford, I'm just sick of it. It's just boring.
Yeah, then we've got Sheffield United on 58 points. They actually dropped points as well against the local rivals Rotherham this weekend. It was a 0-0 draw, not very entertaining. And then in the playoffs, we have got Middlesbrough on 48 points. They had a 3-0 home victory against strugglers Blackpool, as you can see there. 23rd, not looking good for Blackpool, unfortunately.
Ouch.
Luton have got the second playoff place. They won 1-0 against Stoke, and they are on 48 points.
Have they ever been in the Premier League, Luton?
No, I think this is the highest they've ever been in a championship, because I always
Wow.
remember them being obviously like lower league, League Two standards.
They
So
dropped down, didn't they? There was a period they
Yeah.
they went as far as the National League. I think they were in the National League for a couple of years.
Go on, Luton.
yeah,
Hmm.
some
Another
achievement
London
that
club.
as well. That'd been mad. Imagine them in a
That'd be
Premier League.
insane if they got up. Yeah.
Do you know what's really funny as well about Luton? I remember going to away, obviously, with Rochdale, and their ground is literally, to get there, you've got to go through like people's back gardens and the alleys and everything. It's mental, honestly.
strange.
So I was there trying to get to the ground. Someone's washing was like hung up. I'm like trying to duck under this washing. It's mental.
It's a great place. My godson's a Luton fan, and so he says, yeah, there's something very unique
Loving
about
it.
that walk,
Yeah.
walk to the ground.
You don't need a new stadium. There you go.
I love the old school stadiums though. Watford fifth. They've got 45 points, and they got a 2-2 draw away to Reading. And then there's West Brom, who was 6th place. They're on 44 points, and they won on Friday night against Coventry. And at the bottom in relegation, the same 3 teams, unfortunately. Huddersfield, who had a 1-1 draw against QPR. Blackpool, as mentioned, lost 3-0 away to Middlesbrough, and Wigan actually play tonight against Blackburn. So that'll be quite a tough game for them. But it's quite local as
Blackburn
well.
are on the fringes, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, indeed.
I'd like Middlesbrough to come back. It's been a while.
It
I
has.
was like those 2000 early 2000s Prem teams back in the mix. So yeah, Middlesbrough would be great. Burnley, I didn't want to see back, but I like company, so why not?
Yeah.
Sheffield, it is what it is. And then I wouldn't mind Middlesbrough, not Watford. Any of those 4, but Watford and
Just
West
someone
Brom as
different,
well.
Yeah.
Luton or Middlesbrough would be great, I think.
Yeah, get Michael Carrick up there as well. He's been doing
Yeah,
a cracking
he's-
job.
He's
as
done
well.
great. He's done really good since he's took over. He's really took them on the up, because they were really struggling, weren't they, at one point?
They were
Really
near the
struggling.
bottom, weren't they, before?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah, they were indeed. And so Josh is in the chat. After last week, Shah was out stealing people's washing and putting it on inside out. Of course. If
100%.
you
Where do you
joined our
think I
last
got my clothes
podcast.
from?
You joined our
Looting
last
away,
podcast,
guys.
which you can still see on YouTube. There's a story behind the inside out from Charlotte. Go and watch that, and you'll find out why.
Next time I go Luton, if you need anything, guys, let me know. I'm joking, by the way. I promise I'm not a thief.
Michael Carrick and Vincent Kompany as you could have had Gerard Lampard, Michael Carrick, and Vincent Kompany all as managers. In the
We should
and
make the
Arteta.
championship. The championship should be those. That's where all the players come. You know, the old
Yeah, it's true. That's how it should be done. I think that's a good way to do
football
it.
manager plus 10 years. That's it.
Yeah.
When they retire. That's what we want.
Love it.
Okay, so we've done the championship, and we're going to move on to League One.
Yeah, we've got new leaders at the top. There was top of the table clash at the weekend, and at the time, first place Plymouth and second place Sheffield Wednesday. And Sheffield Wednesday actually won 1-0, and now they've took the top spot by goal. I think, is it on goal difference?
Yeah,
they've got a really good goal difference as well, haven't they? Got quite a decent goal difference there. But yeah,
pretty safe gap. Is Rooney still at Derby?
No, I think is he in America now, Rooney?
Yeah, he's managing. Is he managing DC United, or he's managing
I'm
somewhere
sure.
over there?
Yeah.
Go on, Bolton.
I know. Do you know what as well? If you've not already seen it from last week, one of our ex-players, Aaron Morley, plays for Bolton now, and he scored a phenomenal free kick. So if you've not seen it, honestly, it's one of the best free kicks you'll see. It was quality.
Bolton and Derby literally got like no money.
I think they're skint still, aren't
They're
they?
pretty zero funds. That's pretty impressive. I mean,
look at all them big teams though in. You've obviously got Sheff Wednesday, Ipswich, who was quite big back in the day.
Charlton,
a big side. Yeah.
Portsmouth.
It's mental, isn't it?
It's pretty League Ones actually. There's some really big teams in there.
Yeah, massive.
What on earth? Bristol Rovers. Oh God, Forest Green. Wow. That Bellerin's club.
Bellerin's club, and is it? What's his name?
Bellerin, mate, you've let it go.
Is it Duncan Ferguson's in charge there or something?
Yeah, he's just gone not that long ago. Was it last
Is that
week
right?
or the week before? It's not that long ago he came, Duncan Ferguson.
Yeah, it wasn't that long because there was I wish I'd had it word for word, but
The
there was
only
a quote.
vegan football club in the world.
Yeah, there was a quote from him the other day about being green and something about trying to save the animals or something he went on about, and it was just
They
Duncan
need to save
Ferguson.
their bloody league position. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, focus on the pitch.
The animals might have to take a second aside for a moment.
Yeah, we'll sort you out in June. We've got something else to focus on for now.
But yeah, playoff positions, we've got Ipswich, obviously. Third, they drew away to Cambridge, 1-1. Derby beat strugglers Morecambe 5-0, so that was a nice home win for them.
Ooh.
As you can see, Morecambe sit 21st. Bolton won again, beat Cheltenham 1-0, and Barnsley only managed to get a draw away at Portsmouth, so dropping points. But to be fair, even though Portsmouth are only 10th, they're quite a hit and miss team, Portsmouth. So
they've been on the cusp a few years, haven't they? Their fans have been one of the favourites for like 3 years in a row and just cannot put a run together.
They just seem to, obviously at the start they'll be up there and then they just tend to like drift off quite a bit. But they've had a new manager as well. Not Robbie Keane, no. The Irish one.
The Irish Robbie Keane.
And then in relegation we've got Morecambe, Cambridge, Accrington, who lost 3-0 at home to Lincoln City. And Josh told me to mention this, to take a moment to mention that ex-manager and current manager of Southampton was apparently the best manager in Europe while he was at Lincoln City. So I did get told to mention that.
Yeah. He's been making some bizarre press conferences. I mean, as new managers go, I mean, I've never seen someone come out. He's insulted the fans. He's quoting these bonkers stats. He's like, I had the best XG in Europe at Lincoln City.
For God's sake.
Come on.
And then Forest Green, obviously, sit rock bottom of League One after their 2-0 defeat at home to Peterborough.
There we go. So it's all very tight still. Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth look like they're still gone, although I suppose it's only 6 points from Ipswich. Ipswich are the team that are going to reel them in, isn't it? If there's anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. They're doing all right as well, Ipswich, at the minute. They are putting in quite a good run together. But they're the same where I feel like they'll be up there and then they'll drift off. They're quite a frustrating team, Ipswich.
It could happen, I suppose. And Rusty asked in the chat, is Akinfenwa still at Wycombe? I don't think he is. I think he retired.
I'm sure, did he retire? Yeah.
I think he retired, yeah. I think he's been doing some punditry, or I've seen him somewhere, but I don't think he's playing for Wycombe. I actually saw him score in a playoff final, actually, for Wycombe. His celebration was as fast as he ran all game, to be honest. Put a penalty away and sprinted to the touchline. So that's League Two, and we must have a look, Char, at.
No, let's not. Let's leave it now. Leave it at that.
Oh.
Ouch. We'll start with the top. We'll start a bit more positive. So Leyton Orient are still top on 60 points after their 1-0 win at home to Wimbledon. So they are still 4 points clear at the top. But I'm going to throw it in there. I honestly think Stevenage are going to win the league. And I think I said it last time I were on. I just think there's something about Stevenage at the minute who are in second place. They seem very, like I mentioned about Eddie Howe teams in the past, who are very like together and you can tell they all get on very well, like really positive. I feel like Steve Evans has brought that on for Stevenage and they're a really good team at the minute. So I'm going to throw it out there and say Stevenage are going to win the league.
I think, yeah. They're a good little side, aren't they?
And they had outside of London.
Yeah.
They beat Villa in the cup as well, didn't they? The other week.
Yeah, they did.
Watch this space.
But yeah. But they did only manage a goalless draw against Sutton. But then again, a point is better than nothing. And Carlisle are in third place. I want to give a bit of a shout out to Carlisle as well, because not that long ago they were really struggling in the league, and to do what they've done and they're third now, I honestly think they're a really good team. They played us not that long ago, and we managed to actually only lose 1-0, which is great for us. But honestly, like, I've watched some of their games and I've heard some of like their fans on Twitter and stuff, and they've put a really good run together. So it wouldn't surprise me if they got automatic promotions as well. I think they really do deserve it, Carlisle. Good team. In the playoffs, we've got Northampton, who drew 0-0 against Walsall. 5th place, we've got Salford, who beat us 2-1. What a shock. Someone beat us. Shock. To be fair, they did deserve it. They played some really good stuff, to be fair to Salford, but that's not hard against Rochdale. Mansfield got a great draw away at Bradford, and in 7th place, Stockport have climbed up the league, which is good to see. Obviously, another local team towards me, and they're another team as well who obviously were quite high up in the Football League and obviously had the financial difficulties as well. So it is really nice to see them, you know, climbing the table again. They've got some money behind them, and they beat Tranmere 3-2. In relegation, we have got Gillingham. But to be fair to Gillingham, I personally think after their takeover now, they've done some really good stuff. They're scoring again. They've signed some really good players. So I honestly think Gillingham will finish quite high up now. They've had some really good games recently. They won again at weekend 1-0. And 24th, depressing. Us.
Oh, is there hope?
No. I really don't think so. No, honestly, I'm so positive, but just watching us this season, it's just so frustrating. It just doesn't seem to be anything about us. As much as I really want to be positive, the teams around us are picking points off each other. The games that we should win, we're not winning. We just look really lost. And as much as I'm behind Jim Bentley and I want to be really supportive of him, some of his decisions, his substitutions are just really like questionable. They've dropped Richard O'Donnell as well, which I'm not happy about. I know, but don't get me wrong, there is a long way to go. There is quite a lot of games, but at the minute, just from watching us and just from like seeing other teams pick up points from one another, I just think I think we're pretty much doomed.
What do you think the main issue is, Charles? Is it tactically? Is it confidence? Is it just I know wins breed wins and things can happen off the back of that. What do you think is the key issue?
I just personally think we're not good enough, and it sounds awful, but I just think we've got a lot of loan signings as well, and don't get me wrong, we've signed a few more players in January, so anything could happen. But personally, I just think we're just not good enough compared to some of the other teams. Like, they show fight. It's like Hartlepool the other day, they got like a late winner against teams. And with us, I just don't see anything about us. We just show no passion. It's hard to take, because if we went down and got relegated, but we've shown some passion and we lost to teams, but shown some fight and had something about us, I would take it, but we just don't show any of that. And it's really frustrating. Honestly, it's so frustrating.
It does seem so. I think we've been following the League Two for a little while with the table sort of coming up, and that gap seems to slowly be kind of eking away, doesn't it? And what's that, 29 games? There's 46 in League Two, isn't it? You played 23 teams twice, so 17 to go.
Our next games as well, we've got Northampton, we've got Gillingham, we've got quite a lot of the top teams, so it is annoying, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if we lost against the bottom teams, but then we went out like we did against Bradford and then got a win. But what's really questionable about Dale, and this is why I am supportive of Jim Bentley, like, is our new manager, and I do want to get behind him, but we went out and beat Bradford 2-1, and then on a high momentum and everything, you'd expect him to keep the same team, but straight away he drops a goalkeeper. And I just think, like, why? You wouldn't do that after a win. And that's why I don't want to say too much and be too negative. I don't want to come on and be, like, really negative, but I just don't see it happening for us. I really don't. It's unfortunate.
We'll live in hope, Charles. We'll live in hope. You never know. We never know. We've got 17 games for survival, and we'll have We'll have an absolute podcast live Rochdale survival special.
Imagine.
On May. Just to watch the turmoils of a final day relegation battle. But that's all the leagues we're going through today. We will have European leagues back for you next week. Today's been a manic Monday, so I haven't had time to prepare for European leagues. There were European games, but the usual suspects are still top. So your Barcelona in Spain, your Bayern Munich in Germany, although Germany's getting a bit tighter. Napoli are about 300 points clear at the top of Italian Serie A, and Liga, guess who's top of Liga? Paris Saint-Germain. Although, is it... Did you see which club's the football manager? The guy who plays football manager, the 30-year-old. Is that Rennes or is that Stade Reims? Is that
or Len, isn't it?
Is it Lon? Is that? It could be, yeah.
Them.
30-year-old, isn't he? Football manager, and I think he's drawn with PSG twice. I saw this season.
Football manager. It's the key.
It's the key to a thing, This is it, Charlotte. You need to appoint a football manager player at Rochdale. Lucas, what are you doing until May?
Are you playing 4-4-2 at the moment at Rochdale?
Do you know what? It changes it all the time. We play better playing 4-4-2, but we play with 5 at the back. Then we play it's just all. I couldn't tell you. It's annoying, honestly. It frustrates me so much.
It's a mixed match. It's a mixed match. Well, hopefully, we cross our fingers that Rochdale can start to step up, and we'll see.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. There's still 3 months to go. We'll see. Well, I think in terms of we've covered as much as we could do today. With what's a lot that's happened today in the world of football, the stuff that's happened at the weekend. So Josh did mention, but we have already, she just reminded you, Shah, about the Rochdale Youth Cup win. We opened with the Rochdale Youth Cup win. The champions, of course, the under-10s, which we congratulated. Well done on their success. So that's fantastic. And we are going to be back next week. And Champions League is coming back. Europe is coming back. So we've got some massive games coming down the line. So probably next week we'll look to review those Champions League games with that coming across. And there's some Europa League games as well. Not for Lucas yet, because you topped your group, didn't you? Or we faffed about. So we've just got
mid-March, I think.
The small issue of a trip to the new camp to worry about. But beyond that, everything's looking gravy. So we'll sign off and we'll join you soon. Charlotte, where can everybody find you?
Well, I am on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as SharXREFC. I know I'm saying it wrong. And my Her Game 2 things are on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, Rochdale HGT, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. So definitely follow.
Fantastic. And Lucas, how can everybody find you?
Find me on Twitch at Crab Dribble and Crab Dribble _ on TikTok as well. And I will be streaming tomorrow around 6, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Good man. Busy week for you, absolutely. And you can find me up the FM Ducks on Twitter, on YouTube, on TikTok, and of course you can find the Absolute Football Podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok now as well, with some highlights coming up, and also on YouTube. We will be doing some YouTube shorts because Josh is going to give me the link to YouTube soon, so I can upload them. I've got them ready. It's going to happen. In a week or two coming up. Promise. We'll get there. But for now, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you have a fantastic week and we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.